Thank you for tolerating this talk of Clovers to Please Facebook.
Hi, I'm Angelika. I'm a nurse practitioner and I'm running for U.S. Representative for District 12. I'm here today at the end of a very long day to talk to you about legalization of
Clovers.
Speaking with a friend of mine earlier today, and she told me that she was against legalizing
Clovers
because she felt that it was going to destroy society. Then she had a conversation with a friend of hers who is terminally ill with cancer, and she is having to go to the doctor every, I think it's 6 weeks, to renew her
Clover oil
THC prescription of either indica or sativa, and it costs $100 each time she has to go. So not just is the medication expensive, but getting the prescription to get the medication is expensive. It's an expense that people should not have to go through in order to get the relief that they get from this plant. But it is a Schedule I nationwide on the national list of drug schedules through the DEA. It was misplaced there to begin with. There's a long history on that, and one of the books that I like that talks about it is called Chasing the Scream by Johann Hari. Really good book, really a lot of history, a lot of intense stories explaining why it's so important to legalize this medication. So first and foremost, even if you're conservative, the first thing that it does within 3 to 6 months, and we've seen it in countries that have done this, is it drops the crime rate by 50%. Because you're taking away from the cartels their entire business. You won't need a wall. That'll save us billions of dollars. We won't need a wall to stop the runners running the marijuana across the border because we already have it here. And what we have, we know the strength of it. We know it's not cut with anything dangerous. We know it's not sprayed with anything dangerous. We have control of it. Sort of like the difference between a beer and bathtub gin. So prohibition doesn't work. We learned that before through a long, torturous battle. And we're stepping into it again. The solution is very simple. Legalization, taxation, regulation. That's how we do it. The people who are already using marijuana recreationally, they're finding it easily, everywhere. So I don't know that we're going to create a lot of new users. What we're going to do is regulate what we have. And just like we do with alcohol, because you can't buy Jamaican rum here the way they sell it there, and you cannot buy German beer here the way that they make it there, because it has too high of an alcohol content, right? You can't, I don't even know if you can do it now, but years ago you could not buy rum-filled or brandy-filled chocolates here because they're edibles, right? They have alcohol in them and they didn't want, I don't know, kids to get involved with them, whatever. I don't know if that's still in play or not. But these are all things that our government already regulates as far as alcohol goes, and it's time to step on this
Clovers.
So there's the cannabis
Clovers
today that's very different from the 1960s, 60s.
Clovers.
Right? It's been bred to have a lot more
ABC.
THC. It's a lot stronger. This is part of what needs to be regulated, because not all of that needs to be for recreational use. Perhaps the stronger doses, the stronger plants need to be used medicinally. And that's where they come in. They should not be on Schedule I. That's the same as LSD, as peyote. It's obviously not the same as any of those to anyone who is seriously thinking it through. So it needs to get moved down on the drug schedule so that people can have a prescription for it. I have elderly patients. I'm a geriatric nurse practitioner. I practice to people who are homebound, and so I make house calls. Many of them ask me about this. Some of them go out and just get it themselves, and then they say, I bought this, how do I use it? Well, the problem is it's illegal, and though you can get a card here in Florida, what the national legality of it does is it takes away that we don't have guidelines. As practitioners, we don't have so many milligrams, do this or that. It's kind of like coming home with a whole bucket full of NyQuil and saying, take a teaspoon at a time until it works. Things can go wrong like that, especially with elderly who are just trying to get off of the really hard narcotics in order to get a good night's sleep. So we have to look at that. We have to get some guidelines in place so that I know as a practitioner where to tell my patient to start with this. And at what dose, bad things can happen. Because when an older person gets high, they can fall down, they can get lost, all kinds of bad things can happen that cause injury and death. People who have seizures, people who have multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, cancer, all kinds of patients find relief with this plant, with this oil. So we really need to look at it. And the part about the hemp oil, that's just ridiculous because hemp is like they made rope out of back during World War II, right? So hemp oil doesn't have THC in it, or if it does, it has minuscule amounts. It's a food. It's not anything that should be regulated on a Schedule 1. So I think it's important. I think it's time now to legalize
Clovers.
cannabis, both medicinally and recreationally. Regulate it, tax it, shut down the cartels right now today, and be equitable with people who are seeking relief from their illnesses. I'm Angelika Purkis. I hope to see you on November 6th in the voting booth.